Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets, with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Hi babes, and welcome to a brand new episode of The Final Frontier. Now, I know that dating can sometimes be tricky, whether that is dating beyond your type or navigating social pressures or even just dealing with some elements of doubt. But never fear, Hinge's 2025 LGBTQIA D.A.T.E Report is here. If you want to find out more, you can click the link that is in our bio or in the description of this very video to get a little help with your dating from Hinge's D.A.T.E Report. Now, on this week's episode, we've brought back one of our earliest guests who has been championing us here at The Final Frontier from day one. It is influencer, activist, and all-round icon, Charlie Craggs. This episode is brought to you by Hinge, who have just released their 2025 LGBTQIA D.A.T.E Report, which features our guest today. It is none other than icon, activist, and actress Charlie Craggs. Hello. Yay, welcome back. Welcome back.
Bitches.
You're literally featured in the D.A.T E Report.
I am the D.A.T E Report. I completed Hinge. They as a reward, they put me in the report. Yeah, no.
You've done all the levels.
I have. I completed Hinge. And the report is made up by advice from like Hinge's experts. And then they reached out to some influencers. And I was one of the ones representing the UK.
What?
I know. I literally, I feel like a international delegate or something, and yeah, they were just like asking me about my experiences, I guess because a lot of my content's about dating, so yeah, I felt really lucky.
That is really iconic, honestly. And also, I mean, we have to be honest, I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to this kind of thing. And so
me?
A
nerd?
Me. And there are lots of numbers and figures in this report. So I was fully like flicking through, geeking out on all these percentages and finding out a lot of like core information about the queer dating scene as it pertains to Hinge as an app.
And you met, can I say the name? No.
Yeah, say it.
Okay, you met Jordan! Jordan.
You said it on the last episode.
Did I? I was the reason I outed your relationship, kind of. I was like, I feel like you hadn't really spoken about it much.
Literally. Yeah. I mean, that's how it all started.
Sorry.
Because I first started talking to my boyfriend on Hinge, and the previous episode that you were on was like way back in the day of The Final Frontier. So it was like way back in the day of like mine and my partner's relationship.
And I was like, Tia, tell us about your relationship that you don't want to talk about. Yeah.
Fully.
Oh my God. Crazy that you met him on Hinge though. And now we're doing this.
I know. You've been on the whole journey.
Yeah. I've had a boyfriend from Hinge, I think.
I believe so. I feel like we were talking about it. Yeah.
But I had a boyfriend last time I was on, and then I'm obviously not with him anymore. But that's why I'm qualified to do this job for Hinge now, because I've had so much experience on the app. So yeah.
I mean, I've had a beautiful, successful time.
Oh, it must be nice, yeah.
Well, I find like Hinge for me is one of the better dating apps.
Oh, 100%. It's probably my favorite.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. It's purely on the basis of like, I know they've got the whole thing of like it's made to be deleted and like, mama, I've deleted it. But like, I feel like you get more you get more meaningful contact on it. Yeah. So you're talking to people who might have like-minded interests and you get to share like the voice notes and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fierce.
I like that. I feel like you can get much more of an idea from someone from their profile on Hinge as opposed to the other apps that are very like static and a bit soulless, like, you know, like you said, with you can do like video things, you can do the voice notes, you know, you can do the question poll thing. I just think it's quite nice, like, yeah, you can get a better vibe of someone, but
you get like proper information on Hinge. Like,
that's why I like Hinge.
Yeah,
because I like that. I don't want to have to message first. I just don't like that. So yeah, I've always preferred Hinge. I think it's also like a different kettle of fish on there. It's like, for me, like it's more like the type of guys that or people actually that I'd want to date. I feel like they're nicer than other apps. I don't know, the sort of guys or
Yeah,
people
for
on
sure. But I think it's not always plain sailing, like in the dating world. Because I think one of the things in the 2025 date report was that 50% of Hinge daters have experienced sort of difficulties when they felt like they have to present more masculine and more feminine to try and attract a prospective partner. Is that something like you feel like you deal with in like dating?
Yeah, I feel like I have to present more masculine all the time. No, I feel like actually it's like a really conscious decision to like actually do the opposite. Yeah, I guess actually. I feel like for me that was much more of a thing at the start of my transition, and you get to a point where you're just like comfortable. Like I'm sitting here now on camera, like speaking in my voice, which I've just like learned to accept and be fine with. Whereas at the start of my transition, it was very much about like trying to soften my voice and soften who I am as a person to make myself a bit more like palatable and like a bit more like normal, so that people would essentially find me attractive.
Yeah.
Or just for safety. And you just get to a point where you're like, oh, I'm actually good. I'm not good, but like it will have to be good.
Like self-acceptance.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, do you know what? I'm making fun of it, but it is actually really good. Like I feel so sure of myself now in a way that I didn't like 10 years ago. And I think that reflects to how I am on the apps. Like I'm so much more a more healthy place when it comes to dating, because the person I'm being is so much healthier, and it isn't, you know, I'm then attracting better people because I'm giving off better, if that makes sense. If you're sure of yourself and, you know, you're fulfilled in yourself, you're not dating out of desperation and dating to like date a guy who you have to be smaller for. You're like, yeah, I get to be bigger.
No, yeah. I fully agree with that, because that is one thing of like, for me, I thought I had to sort of present a version of myself that was going to be like palatable, or like kind of like, especially after doing Drag Race and stuff, like feeling like I had to be like, oh, I feel like all these people know that I like wear a wig and makeup for a living. So like, let me like try and like give a bicep in a photo, as if that is something that I ever do in my actual life, and trying to give like a bit of a like more mask energy, which is so cringe to think about now. But like, I did feel like I had to do that. And then it's the moment that you sort of settle into it and you're like, oh, actually, no, like just be authentically yourself. Yeah. You're gonna attract the right kind of person. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. That is the best advice I've ever been given.
Let me let that soak in for a minute. That's really good advice. You can't say that again. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. I love that. And is this why you don't shave your arms now? You're leading to embracing your masculinity. You're like, just, I'm the same. And yeah, no, I feel like I know what you mean. Like, and I guess for you as well, like, even if you're not performing, like, any part of yourself, you know that people know who you are, especially if the guys you're matching with are gay guys. You know, most gay guys watch or know of Drag Race, and you're from like the biggest, one of the most celebrated seasons ever, rightly so, and one of the most celebrated people from it. So you know that they'll have an idea, like, you know, when you're making your profile that it's being like, I can't explain it, but like you're not anonymous, like you're being watched. You're almost having to, anything you say, you know, is being interpreted, like, and how you pose and photos is being interpreted. So like that's really interesting.
It is. Like I had moments where, because you can like connect your Spotify on your Hinge profile.
Oh, absolutely not. I would never get a match if people could see did you do that?
Yeah, and I had to change like the songs round.
So all
it was
Tia
like
Kofi, the outside in.
No,
Tia
that's
Kofi.
why I had to change it, because like my number one song was like Bimini, God Save This Queen, and like like UK Hunt and stuff, and I was like, this is actually really embarrassing.
No,
so I changed it to try
that.
and be like cooler, and actually, to be honest, probably so that it was like more mask energy, to be like, I don't know what my version of mask was. I was probably like, here's a song by Busted. Yeah. Like trying to like give that. But it is so true, like feeling that pressure to like adjust yourself to try and fit a certain mold, especially like for me with like those kind of gay men who like go to like the gym every day and all of that kind of thing. I'm like, I am not really giving that. So you do kind of maybe portray a fiction, but like not doing that is the solution.
Yeah, 100%.
You can't say the wrong thing to the right person.
I love that. That's so good. That's like really what I need to hear right now. You do get to a point where you're like, oh, maybe it's not for me. You know, like I've been single a while. Obviously, like I said, I was seeing that guy last year.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I've been very single my whole life. And I just, you do get to points where you're like, oh, maybe it's not for me. And like, maybe, yeah, but you do have to remind yourself like what's meant for you won't pass you by. You can't say the wrong thing to the right, but you don't have to worry so much. And it's essentially like performing off the apps as well as on the apps. You don't have to be performing and try and be this if you're just yourself, that's not going to put the wrong person. Like, you don't have to worry too much. That's not going to put the right person off.
Yeah. For sure.
I need that.
You actually, like, I found myself getting into, like, worse situations and worse relationships when I feel like I'm trying to fit into that person's expectation.
Oh my God. 100%. So it reminds me of one of the stats in the report, which is that 45% of LGBTQIA plus Hinge daters have considered dating someone outside of their usual, like, gender preference.
Okay.
But only, 55% of those people haven't actually acted on that. That thought, that feeling. And as well as like thinking about me and how I'm perceived on the dating apps, I'm trying to like also think about like other people and what I perceive as like attractive, and like because I'm someone who I think, like, going back to what I said about performing myself, my femininity a bit at the start of my transition, trying to make myself more attractive, I feel like I went for really hyper masculine, like straight men, almost as a way of like validating myself to be like, oh, well, if they like me and they're like proud to walk down the street with me, it's almost like a badge of honor for where I am in my transition sort of thing. And as I've like got further along in my transition and just in my dating journey, I've like actually, I'm like, I can't think of anything worse than dating those guys, like, because it obviously it didn't work. So like I've actually started going for like different types of people, be it like a softer masculinity, like, you know, like the last guy I was dating, like, it changed my mind. Like, it was the first time I dated a bi guy. I had a real thing. I like almost didn't want to date bi guy because I was like, no, I'm a woman. I just want to. And dating means not. You don't have to be bi to date a trans woman. I'm like, and I would have, and all my other than that, like every 99% of the others are all straight. But like I dated him, and it really like, shout out to Connor. Like it changed totally changed like how I see like dating and what I want for myself. It was so much healthier, like to date someone who you actually like can have a conversation with. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and so now I've actually started going for that, and I'm trying to lean into even more and like think, oh well, like I'd like to date a trans man, maybe I'd like to date a woman, even like it'd have to be a very butch woman. So, but like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, but point being, I'm actually trying to be in the 45% who is taking it to 69%, and you know, like trying to
work.
Trying to just, you know, like trying to like actually like, because a lot of us have these feelings but we don't actually act on them. Have you ever like dated outside of your type? Is that what, like with Jordan, is he like, maybe this is too far, but like, is he like, he's definitely my type, like I love Jordan, but like is he like your like have you always dated the same type of guy? Like have you dated different types of people?
I feel like I've had like very sort of like diverse dalliances, we're going to say, when it comes to sort of like people's like appearance or like gender expression. But when it comes to relationships, I guess it's probably been a little bit samey, like similar types of people. And I feel like a part of that is that as like a person of colour sort of in the queer dating scene, it is quite difficult to sort of find people who will accept you for you, especially like back in the day. I think things have really like shifted now and the conversations are different. But like, I don't know if you remember, like back in the day, people were fully on profile saying no black people, no Asian people, no fat people, no femme people. Like really, really, really bad, particularly it was among gay men, I believe. And those preferences, I think, it's quite difficult because no one says that anymore because the conversations have shifted. But to my mind, like, you know, those preferences still exist. They haven't suddenly like said, oh, slay, like we can't say it on our profiles anymore, so we've forgotten that information. Like those people still have those tendencies. And I think I've always gravitated towards people who, like within their profiles especially, show some diversity in their friendship groups or interests and things like that. Particularly like my boyfriend now, like literally has like many people of colour in his family. So I knew that I would be comfortable and confident like going to his family home for a lovely Christmas lunch.
Praise the Lord,
Yeah, exactly. So that's something that like really plays into it, like seeing that diversity in people's social groups.
I 100% judge people when there's like, even like, not to drag anyone, but like when you see people post their weddings on Instagram and there's not a single black person, brown person, I'm like, girl, like a whole room of like 100 people and you don't know like, that's such a, to me, I'm just like, I'd be so embarrassed. I wouldn't even post the photos if that was me. I'd be so embarrassed.
I call people out constantly.
Yeah, no.
Constantly.
I love that. Yeah.
It's like, it's actually very, like, that's like energy that we share. It's calling people out for that kind of thing. I won't name names. We have a mutual friend who sometimes he posts like pictures of his social group, like on a night out or like a Christmas event or something. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like 20 white gays in a room in Clapham. Yes.
I guess it's also the areas you're hanging out, like as well. And you're like famously a Clapham queen. Like that's a very like certain type of what like gay man who frequents Clapham.
Yeah,
I guess.
But I don't think it is sort of. I thought it was like the Clapham gay like limited thing, but like I see it in like people's social groups, like when adult gay men in their 30s having like a house party for like Halloween or whatever. This is bad because this is a very specific story, but adult gay men particularly tend to have a lot of like a lack of diversity in their friend groups when they're posting pictures on their sort of like Instagram stories. And I'm like, sorry, 30 of you can't be copy and paste. Like this is the same person, different font, same facial hair, same expression. And like if you're moving in those circles, of course you're not going to be looking for like more diverse people on dating apps when you should be.
Because there is such a thing as well of people dating people who look like their sibling. There's their whole dedicated Instagrams to it. Do you know what I mean? And like, and I feel like definitely within our community, we see quite a lot of that. Not that it's necessarily a bad thing, but like, I can imagine like how jarring it must be for obviously something I don't experience, but just how jarring that must be on dating apps to like, just be trying to like navigate the minefield of like people who... Because I'm navigating my own minefield, but it's not even close to that level. But just it must be really have been tricky.
60% of LGBTQIA plus daters have expressed sort of difficulties and have faced adversity when they've changed the way they sort of express themselves from a gender perspective. That shift in the way that they sort of identify, like it doesn't change who anyone is as a person. So it's really confusing to me that you would face that kind of adversity.
Yeah.
I guess it's even someone changing to like they, them pronouns.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say lucky, but I don't know if this is lucky, but I never actually started dating until I transitioned. And this is proof like being trans is a thing, like with all the conversations that are happening right now as if it's like a choice. But like, I was so uncomfortable in my body that I was like, I don't want to date until I'm dating as Charlie, like as myself. So I was like 23 before I started like dating. Like, like until I'd reached, not even, because I transitioned at like 2021, but like it was only until I got to a point in my transition where I'd be like read as, like I wouldn't feel comfortable going on a date with a guy where like once I'd just come out as trans because I looked kind of bad. So and again, that taps into the whole thing about like performing and like, but I can imagine like had I had been trying to date at that point, I know the reception I would have had. So like, it was hard enough, the reception I had when I did come on the apps. I can imagine how much harder it would have been if there was that shift in how you perceive your like gender identity and like in action, like going through that shift on the apps, like changing who your preference is and then like seeing how those people going from gay men to straight men maybe and seeing how they react and stuff. And like I said, it's like a minefield as it is dealing with those mostly straight men. Never mind, like if you're early on in your transition and like it's just a hard time, and I'm glad I gave myself the space to, and I would recommend any like trans people listening, like the jump on the app shouldn't be the first, unless you're just looking for a bit of fun, but like I wouldn't be given, you need to focus on yourself at that point. It's such a big journey that like is you need to make sure that you're putting your energy into what you think of yourself and not basing who you are and who you become and grow into around like what other people want you to be or like what you think they want you to be.
For sure. I think that is actually just great advice in general for someone, like really understanding who you are and what it is you want from your life is like such a core thing, especially when it comes to dating, because if you don't understand like who you are and what your experiences have been and what you want in life, like how are you going to find someone who's going to match that or be able to connect with it?
And I think a parallel that maybe runs between trans people and people of color, black people, any kind of marginalized person, even people of certain faces, like when you're dating and like, especially when you're maybe new to it and you're impressionable, to like almost like diluting your like and trying to make yourself more palatable and almost perform to become what you think people want you to be, and like maybe like hide like diminishing parts of yourself so that you are more dateable, more, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to like know who you are maybe before you put yourselves in those situations, because you would never let someone now, and the same way me now, like try and make us smaller as a Black person, as a trans person. We were so like strong in ourselves and we know who we are and stuff. And I think it's hard for young people coming up who are, or people just young in dating, they don't have to be young in age, but like who are, you know, marginalized and like dating on very like, whether it's for me on like a very cis straight app or for you on a very white app, like and becoming like diluting parts of yourself and they're the most important parts of yourself, you know.
Well, I just think it's really interesting to like be able to look at the sort of data in this report and really like think about it, because I would have assumed that things were easier and better for younger people on dating apps than they were for me when I was sort of like on them back in the day. But like, it's really interesting to see that like conversations that maybe might have been more focused on race as they were for me are now more centered around like gender and people's sort of like differing gender identities. It does concern me like a little bit that like that quantity of people are experiencing like a shift in attitudes towards them.
I think it's also hand in hand with what's going on in the media. I've seen so many, and I've definitely felt it a bit, where people feel emboldened, emblazoned, whatever the word is, to like be really essentially transphobic, just because they feel like it's culturally acceptable. Like right now with like all the pushback there is against us, they're less ashamed in the way that like the opposite of that, where people don't feel as emboldened to be no fats, no femmes, no blacks, no Asians, because they know they're going to get dragged on social media. Whereas like a lot of social media is on the side of J.K. Rowling, do you know what I'm saying? Who like a lot of the laws are now on the side. So I feel like I've noticed a lot of trans people posting online saying like, and I specifically LGBTQIA plus people, I saw like a trans guy friend of mine post like a lot of the comments where it's like, you're a woman, you shouldn't be on here. And like they feel emboldened because of the Supreme Court ruling where they define now a woman as someone who is born a woman. Like people feel like they can say that because actually factually it's now, or not factually but legally they're actually allowed to say that, and they couldn't even be pulled up on it. Like, so I feel like it goes hand in hand with like what's happening in media and in social media with how we're being treated on the apps. But I think it is generally better. I know that one of the stats as well, look at me being so good at remembering the stats, is that like 22% of Gen Z LGBTQI plus daters would be more likely to date someone like out of their kind of usual gender preference than a millennial. Which is why I'm now in my MILF era, my cougar era. I'm
not the Gen Z cougar.
Yeah, I have to, because I'm 22% more likely, you know, and I love it.
That's quite fierce though.
Yeah, it is fierce being it. Are you older than Jordan?
Well, yeah.
Cougar! Cougars! Yeah.
That is quite fierce.
I love it.
Yeah.
How much older are you than Jordan? Allegedly. Not according to your Wikipedia page.
According to my Wikipedia, 4 years. In real life, 5 years.
Yeah, like proper cougar. I love it. Yay. Toy boy.
Okay, right. So we're still in the pursuit of like dating.
Yeah.
You're still like on the Hinge.
On the hunt.
On the hunting
for the
on
Gen
Hinge.
Zs.
Wait, no. The Hinge Hunt. That's a new series for you.
Oh, yeah.
Can we pitch that to Hinge, please?
Wow, please,
Charlie
Hinge.
Craggs,
Yeah.
Hinge Hunt.
Charlie Craggs. I was trying to think of something that rhymes, and I can only think of a derogatory gay word that rhymes.
Okay.
That could be for another dating app if you get my hit. But yeah,
Ding.
Still single. Like very much like do you know what is really good as well? I've got to a place where I'm like, I don't actually care, which is really good. Like, and I don't mean that in a way of like out of bitterness or anything. I just mean like I actually like, especially with what people I have dated, they've brought nothing really to my life where I'm like, they're not benefiting my life, and I'm just like, it's like if I find someone great, but I'm actually like, unless you're bringing. If you're not improving my life, I'm actually good at just being a one night thing rather than I don't need you. And I'm like, babe, I've got a house now. I've got my own job. I've got a cat. I'm like, unless you're like, what do I need from you? I don't need you to go and get a mortgage together because I got the mortgage on my own, baby. So I'm like paying those bills on my own. So I'm like, for now, I'm like, it would be lovely to find like a life partner, but like at the same time, it's really nice to not be like desperate. In a way, I was really desperate. Not gonna lie, like it was when I was grieving actually. Like I was like really lonely. And I think I was trying to fill that void with like finding a partner because I'd lost my best friend who's like my number one. And when you lose like your number one person, it's like you're trying to, I have loads of other friends, but I haven't got a number one. And I felt like, oh, if I find a partner, that's my number one.
Yeah.
And it was always just so like, because like I said, a lot of these, like no offense, like the straight boys, there's not much to talk about when you're like a trans girl or even a cis girl like dating a straight guy. What, unless they're a really nice one, but like what they like football, I don't like football. I like Drag Race, they don't like Drag Race. What are we talking about? Whereas like now I'm like, I feel like I'm dating people that are healthier for me, like bi guys, like people across the spectrum even. And I'm actually much more content and fulfilled in myself where I'm not like looking for someone. If they come, great, but I don't actually need it. And I don't really, to be honest, I'm almost like, I don't know if I want it. So like, it's actually quite good to come from that place.
You've diversified the workforce.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know you said as well, you were in that space, like, because you fell into the relationship with Jordan just before you did Versus the World or around the time. And you were like, actually, like, I'm actually good being single for a while. But then you like, it's when you're often not looking for it that you do find it. Because you're most healthy, you're most like, you're not dating out of desperation.
No. And like, if I'm being completely honest, I was quite looking forward to being single while I was on the telly because you tend to get like, they tend to be 20% hotter when you're not.
Thanks a lot, Jordan.
Yeah. Thanks, Hinge. But no, that is totally true. Like, you tend to fall into it when you're not necessarily looking for it.
Which is the best time to fall into it, because I think when you are looking for it, you're not going to find what's good for you. You're going to be dating out of desperation. You're only going to be dating like the things that aren't actually good for you. You're like dating you lower your standards. Some of the people I've dated, I'm like, bloody hell, Charlie, what the hell were you thinking?
Charlie, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me here
today.
Second time. Have you had anyone else back 2 times?
You are the first 2-timer.
I love to 2-time.
You did it. No, but it's been lovely to see you.
I love you so much, Tia. And if things don't work out with Jordan, match me on Hinge and we can date. I love you so much.
Oh,
I really do.
I love you too.
Sorry.
Love you too.
Waiting for you to say it to me.
Sorry, love you too.
We can be 2 cougars together.
Cougar.
2 cougars, one brain.
Cougar. I feel like we should release a song called Cougar now.
I would love to. Thank you for having me, Tia Kofi.